thought it was playing. Hi, beauties. Welcome to the Love Shack. That was cute, wasn't it?
Hello.
The Love Shack.
There you go.
Just a little advice. So, today's Q&A. He said, she said. Welcome to our very first episode. So, today we're going to be answering questions. So, we got our bowl of questions. Booyah, booyah. And we're just going to take some time to answer them. We are not professionals. We just a bunch of young Negroes that's been married for a minute. And we just thought we'd make some type of, I guess you'll say, almost satirical little something to give out some information that has helped us stay young, black, and saved for how long we've been together. So, do you want to give like a little background on the relationship first? I mean, it is the first episode. So, we met a long time ago. He went to the school in the city where I am from. I went to school out of state. One like Thanksgiving break or something, we met at a poetry set. I thought he was ratchet. And it takes to read my book to know the full story. Sprinting towards nowhere fast in bookstores now. Shameless plug. But yeah, so a mutual friend introduced us. Took us a couple years. I braided his hair for a while. We fed each other. And during hard times, for me, I got fired from my job as a janitor and was unable to pay my bills. You know when you're behind 2 months, that's it. Like it's a wrap. So it was very hard for me to find a job at that point. It was very hard for me to pick myself up back immediately. If you're from a small town, you know how difficult it is to get a job, much less like get a job on the spot. So this kind, strapping young gentleman that he is helped me out, and he moved me in with his roommates and stuff, and they helped the sister out. I got a job, and he ain't been able to like get rid of me since. Like he just been all up on me. So I had to go ahead and say yes when he proposed like 3 years later. And here it is 5 years after that. We have a 2-year-old munchkin named after his father and his grandfather. God rest his soul. And that's pretty much our story. We're a bunch of lames. We're like introverts a little bit. Just me. I'm an introvert. I turned into an introvert. See, I used to be a clown. But see, then God saved me. And he did. That's real talk though. So I used to clown. And then I decided to change my life and try to give it to Jesus. Still working on that. But yeah, so that's enough. Let's get into some questions just for shits and giggles. So here we go. So we're going to pick a question, go back and forth answering them. And yeah, so we encourage you to send in your questions. You can send them to plushunlimited@gmail.com. That's plushunltd@gmail.com. If you follow me on Instagram at Miss Walker Jr., if you follow me on that's Twitter, Miss Walker Jr., Instagram at Tiffany Danielle, Facebook at Tiffany Danielle, you can send them there too. So you want them to send you questions? Nah, y'all don't send him shit. Send it to me. Boom. Here we go. Big question. You go first. What is your question? You gotta say it loud enough.
How can you tell the difference between a deal breaker and a small compromise to save the relationship?
Ooh, we got deep. Quick.
Well,
read that again.
How can you tell the difference between a deal breaker and a small compromise to save the relationship? All right. So if you are married at this point, you should have talked about your deal breakers already. And if you haven't, shame on you. Here's the good news. The good news is that the compromise is going to be something that's done on a daily basis in marriage. Here's the bad news. The deal breaker is just a different kind of thought process as far as a compromise. Those two words aren't interchangeable, but the thought of those can be. You have to decide to either stick with it, make the compromise, or say, hey, enough is enough. The real difference, I guess, in answering that question is the thought process. You're already in it. It's not worth staying. Don't stay. Don't compromise. That's another way of saying the deal breaker. So, on your thought process. So, yeah, how would you answer that question?
The difference between a deal breaker and a small compromise to save the relationship. Well, I kind of feel like the answer is in the question. If it is a small compromise to save the relationship, then that's just it. Let's think of a good example.
Kids or no kids?
That's not small. I don't think that's small. The discussion of kids is not small to me. I would say more along the lines of dishes. Okay? Socks on the floor. Stuff like that when you get married, like when you first get married, like even if you try to get past it, like you're like, oh, I'm the good wife, I'm going to pick up the socks anyway. 2 years down the line, you're tired of seeing them socks. So you have to say something. You have to speak up for yourself. You have to say, listen, stop leaving these socks on the floor. I'm going to bust you in the mouth. Okay? Leave socks on the floor, get busted in the mouth. Boom. All right? If you're like, okay, well, let me meet you halfway. I will only put the socks on the floor when they ain't funky or something. I don't know. But for me, that sounds more like a small compromise. Like we meeting each other halfway about the socks. A deal breaker is like, don't be finding exes on the Facebook and befriending them on the Facebook. And then you find out that person did that. Then you have to stick to your grounds. Your deal breaker should have consequences. And you need to be clear about your consequences. And you need to stick with them. If you plan on making that a deal breaker, then you need to stick with them. But I'm going to tell you something. In marriage, it shouldn't be a lot of deal breakers. Because you said I do, what is it? Rain, sleet, snow, death, life. So you shouldn't have too many deal breakers. It should be like, if you slap my mama, let's move on. Okay, my question. I hope it's a good one. Do you have to spend all of your time together? No. What is that what you would say? Do you have to spend all of your time together?
I would recommend that you spend a healthy part of the time you need for that person with them. Outside of that, you need to still be an individual and walk hand in hand and not rely on each other so much. You need to have your thing. She needs to have her thing.
And yeah, that's real. It's a thin line between like togetherness and codependency. And I do believe that having your own, like you don't even necessarily have to have a lot of friends. Like that's something I learned later on down the line, because when you first get married, a part of the whole friends thing is just showing out. Let's keep it real. It is. Oh yeah, dang, But later on down the line, you come to realize that you can't have too many single friends. And when you do have married friends, it's not like before you're married. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be doing bedroom talk to your girls about your husband. You just shouldn't be doing that like we did when we were single. Like, girl, you shouldn't be doing that. And I don't know if guys do that. Do guys do that? But you should be doing that. You shouldn't be telling your boys how your wife had, that's not cute. Because I would think that just puts the other person in their mind, and that shouldn't even be in your mind like that. Like, this should not be in your mind. I will cut you over this. This shouldn't be in your mind. Okay.
The question was, do you spin?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Spin.
No, you don't have to spin.
We wrapped that question up about 3 minutes ago. So let's move
You
on.
don't have to spend all of your time together. No, you do not. But when you do, it should be quality. And you should say stuff like that from the beginning. If you know you got a touchy-feely person, if you know you got somebody that always like to be up under you, you just need to make it clear from the go. Like, I'm cool with giving you time, but I need my time. And that's just something that they just going to have to respect. That was kind of hard for me in the beginning. When it came to, we supposed to keep it real. Don't be looking like that.
That's my real look.
It was like that. Like, I would be so excited, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day when we came home. I didn't realize just how important it is for a man to have his time after work. Like that whole debriefing thing. It took me a while to get that. I took it personally at first. But I'm good now. Especially with a kid. Like, I value my alone time.
For the remainder of this video, I'm going to try to answer the questions.
I'm sorry.
What do you do to push those doubts away?
What doubts?
The question says, what do you do to push those doubts away? Let me answer that question. When in doubt, don't. When in doubt, don't. At the end of the day, whether she's going to be there or not, it's not up to you. It's up to the other person. When in doubt, don't. You marry this person, I would believe that they would be there or be what you need them to be. But if they're not there yet, they will get there. It takes some patience. As my wife would say, you ain't there yet. As I would say, God ain't through me yet. That's all good. So when in doubt, don't. You eventually get to where you're supposed to be, and the other person will too. The trick is just to keep hanging until they get there. It's not your job to change them. So when in doubt, don't. Would you like to add something, honey, about doubt?
No, I'm going to leave that one alone, G.
All right.
I'm going to leave that one alone. All right, here we go. How can you be sure that you love someone? I picked the wrong question. That's hard.
If you could sum it up
if I can sum it up, sir, I would say that's a hard question. Because, you know, things get different the older you get. And the more married you are, I think before marriage, love had a lot to do with feelings. And then when you get married, you're expecting that to sustain. But in reality, love has nothing to do with that. I go to the scripture. That's what I go to. You know, if your love with this person has kindness, has long suffering, has temperance, if you can look past that person's flaws, they dirty butt, you know, well, you should. That probably wasn't a good example. But, you know, try it against the word. That's how I would do it. Like, that's what I consider. Because for me, the definition that I read in the scripture is unconditional. And you come to find out the more you're in love with the person, just how conditional love can be, right? So I would say, you're sure. How would you say that? How can you be sure that you love someone?
I don't know.
Right?
That's one of those questions that I don't pose the answer, or suppose I have the answer to. It varies from person to person. For me, I can look past all the difficulties and issues that the person may have and still love them. I may not like all the difficulties and issues, but my love for them allows me to accept them despite how I feel up front. Because my love for them would say, that's okay. I still love them for who they are.
Yeah, because love is attached to pain. It is attached to drama. It is attached to, all these other maybe not so positive epithets or however that's not the right word. Anyway.
It's okay. We can be done with
We
that
get
question.
it. We get it, right? You cannot necessarily be like sure for sure. Like you got to invest. Love is something that you have to invest time. You have to invest energy. You have to invest love and shit.
All right, we're going on to the next question here.
And then we're going to wrap it up because I think I've taken up the whole video. Okay, what you got, sir?
My question says, what makes this person different, better than the other short-term people you've dated?
Yes.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yes.
My wife has, and this is the number one thing for me, we'll talk about me on another series, but my wife for me has brought a new perspective of Christ in my life. I grew up in the church and I've only known a form thereof, but when I seen the power, it made me, well, how about this? I saw God through her, and that's awesome. For those who have difficulties with the whole God thing or thought process, my experience of her was God through her. So I got to understand a different realm of God through her. Therefore, the beauty of him I saw in her. He reflected off her, which brought me to her. And our relationship grew just like me and his relationship grew. That was when I knew it was that was my confirmation, so to speak. That really was. That was my confirmation, because I fought it. I said, I don't know, but once that happened, and I didn't expect that, but once that happened, that was confirmation for me. The other people I dated didn't do that. I was at a different maturation level in my matriculation in life. It just wouldn't, in my opinion, it never would have happened that way. I wasn't able to receive because my receptors were closed. So when she came along, she opened some doors that I didn't know existed, or she opened some doors that I had no access to. So once she did that, for me, it was a no-brainer. I fought it. I'm not going to lie, I fought it, but I understood more so what I want long-term than what I want short-term. So, there you go.
Just to piggyback off that real quick, that was so nice.
Awesome, 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. It was also the way he revered his parents. I completely respected the fact that he has an utmost respect for his parents, and the way he operates and operated at the time in his relationship with his father and how he revered his mother was different for me than some of the other guys I dated. Not saying that they were jerks to their parents, but it was just something different. A sense of power. It was just a sense of power. Like I don't even really know how to explain that. It was very inspiring. And that made him stand out for me. That, and not even just that, just how much of a family man he was pretty different. And I mean, we got married pretty young. So for him to be, 24, like having this type of respect for people in general was, it was pretty inspiring. So there you go.
Are we going to do one more question?
Yeah, one more.
Yeah, let's answer that question. Read that one out loud, sweetie.
So that's the end of our Q&A session. No, I'm like,
Read that one out loud.
Baby, what do you want to, what do you do if you really, really want to bone someone else? You don't. Okay. Don't cross that river, G. How about you take a stab at that?
I would probably want you to talk to your significant other, say, hey, look, this is what's going on. Mm-hmm. Communicate with them. Who knows? It might happen. It might not. But even in the event, if it does happen, it's probably not as good as you imagine in your head. You'll ruin everything.
That's true.
And then you'd be like, man, if I only could undo what I've done. So
even in single life, the sex is very rarely able to meet with the fantasy. Very rarely. So like I wouldn't even go down that rabbit hole. Like for real. I agree with him. Mentioning something.
Go ahead. I thought the story was covered as what I was waiting on because it's your question. I figured maybe you had some sort of anecdote to share.
I've had fantasies.
It's okay. We can read it in the book.
Tyrese.
Sprinting towards nowhere fast.
The game. But I try to bring it back down. I try to bring it back down, but if it was like a reality situation, like I would try to do my best to remove myself from the situation. If it was like a coworker, which is probably really hard. I've never been through that, but I couldn't imagine that. But in situations like that, I would just try to do my best to remove myself from the situation to where the possibility was not an issue. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I'm going to chime in and then I'm going to go ahead and end it with that. Here's a bit of advice. Granted, we all have fantasies, Alicia Keys, Erykah Badu, whatever. That person that you are thinking about boning is probably Kim from the copy room. Kim from the copy room is not worth losing your family.
Yeah. Kim
probably is working there because she needs a job. And this probably isn't the best advice, but if you're going to go with someone, if you're going to bone someone, if you're going to want to bone someone on a higher level. Like
unreachable, unattainable.
Like one of those stories, like I ran into somebody. I'm not going to put no names in there, like maybe Alicia Keys. I said I wouldn't, but I did. And it happened. Now, if that happens and you go home and tell your significant other, like, hey, look, she probably will be mad, but she'll understand.
Listen, he has a hall pass with that. That we've made that agreement. If one of us comes across, don't front, and I'm putting the business out. If one of us comes across one of those unattainables and it becomes attainable, I might let you get a pass on that, dog. Like, I'm just gonna keep it real. If Alicia throw it at him, like, I can't be mad.
Don't be mad.
I feel like I can't be mad. So when Tyrese serenades me with the chocolate and all that, like,
I won't be mad.
Take your medicine.
I won't be mad.
So, but yeah, and know this. When you single, like, it's like the little saying that people don't want you until you got somebody. You can't imagine how it is when you marry. You get all types of buses. What you call them now? Thoughts. It's an everyday occurrence. So you have to stay girded up. You have to stay girded up. You have to keep your full armor on. You need to be praying. You need to be praying over your husband, over your family, before you even get him. That was something that I trained myself to do very seriously, because it's real. It's a very sex, tension, energy, all of that. It's very real. And like he said, you don't want, like, you can lose a lot. Like, you're up to lose a lot. So just be smart. Just be smart. Okay? So I think we're good now. We're good. This is a good first episode. I hope you guys liked it. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, or whatever. Send us your questions down below or to all the other places I mentioned before. And we love you guys. This was cool. I like it. So, yeah, we look forward to hear from you soon. The Walker Jr. signing out. You gonna push the button?
I know what button to push.
You gotta push the button. Bye. No, really, how do you push the button? Okay, here we go.
Baby, let me kiss you, kiss you, make it